Hello guys, my name is Vanessa, also known as Ken Queen, and welcome to another one of my videos. Today I'm going to be talking about something kind of personal, being deferred or being waitlisted from the college of your dreams. Well, I got the answer because even after being deferred, I still got into my dream school, so I think I can help you do the same. Not everything that I'm going to tell you is going to necessarily work for you 100%. If it works for you, great, wonderful, go ahead and use it. If it doesn't work for you, take it with a grain of salt. I am an oncoming sophomore at the University of Pennsylvania at the Wharton School of Business, which is one of the 8 Ivy League institutions in the United States of America, and also the best one. After applying early decision to Penn, I was deferred, which was something that was really scary for me because I had no idea what it meant. It had me shook. They were like, well, we're not accepting you and we're not rejecting you. So I was like, okay, I guess. I ended up figuring out what it means to be deferred. Being deferred means that you applied early decision or early action somewhere that ended up deciding that your application was too good to be rejected but not good enough for you to be accepted. To be waitlisted is basically you were a pretty good applicant, but we've already decided who is going to be in our class, and if we happen to have an opening, we'll tell you and we'll let you know. Otherwise, we won't say anything ever again. The difference between being deferred a lot of the time is that they have another formal decision coming out. It's very rare for a school to defer you and then waitlist you. One of the first things I would suggest to you to do is to call your admissions. There's 2 people that I think are best to call admissions. Either you specifically, if you can, or your counselor. A lot of admissions don't like to hear from parents because parents are a little biased. Whereas you're the student, you understand what might be necessary for school, it's your application, you might have a better insight on it, and a counselor also might have better insight on it than your parents because they understand where you are in comparison to other students. Sometimes they'll give you an answer straight up. They'll tell you it was your scores, it was your GPA, it was your lack of school involvement. They'll actually give you the reasoning as to why you were deferred or waitlisted. It's always a good thing to call them because the worst thing they can do is not give you an answer, but you end up right back where you started, so it can't really hurt. And sometimes they may not tell you, the applicant, but they may tell your counselor, who can tell you, like if you live close enough to the school, go to their admissions office in person, physically, and then go and ask them, hey, I've been deferred, I've been waitlisted, and they might just tell you right there and then. Not every school's gonna tell you, but some schools will if you just go up and ask them. And sometimes, if you're lucky, by going in person, they'll change the decision right there in front of you and say, you know what? You've been waitlisted and we're gonna accept you, or you've been deferred and now we're gonna accept you right here, right now. If you're like me, you were in a position where neither of these were going to work for you. Okay, now what? A lot of schools, when you're deferred, will ask you to write a letter in the coming months. They want an update as to how you've been doing. This is probably one of the biggest opportunities you have to advocate for yourself and to change the decision. A lot of people will think, I don't need to send a letter, there's no point in sending a letter. Or they might feel like I've already put everything down that I need to put down. Like, how much could I change in 3 months? It's all about making things sound as good as they are, but also a little bit better than they are. What I put on mine was how my GPA had improved, which it had. The clubs that I was involved with, I talked about the different projects we had done, different things we had done around the community, and different activities we had done with our school. I talked about being a freshman mentor and how I had helped around with my school and the different programs they had for freshmen. I talked about the fact that I was teaching myself Arabic, which was something I was legitimately doing, but I mean, it obviously sounds nicer on paper like that than it does for me to say, like, and I'm looking at YouTube videos of the language. It was, yeah, I'm looking at YouTube videos, I'm talking to teachers of mine who know Arabic, I'm reading books about it and trying to learn it myself, which is something that I was doing, and I felt like it kind of showed that, like, even when I wasn't in school, I was still trying to learn, which is something you can definitely talk about. If you're constantly reading articles about politics, talk about it. If you're constantly reading books about cooking, talk about it. Like, if you're learning something and you feel like it's enriching you as a person or making you a better person, talk about it. Even if that means you're just watching movies every day, but you might be learning something from watching those movies every day, talk about it and talk about how that's enriching you as a person and how you're becoming a better student. I'd also talked about how the school was still my #1 choice, and I think that's one of the #1 points you want to put in there, is talking about if you were accepted, you would attend that school. If that school really is your #1 choice and you really do actually want to go to that school, talk about it and show that that is your #1 school, because that's something they're going to be thinking about when they're comparing you to other students, is how badly do you want to go. If there's not an option to do that with your school, get in contact with whomever read your application and a lot of the times they will set up who reads your application based on region. So if you can contact that person and send that letter directly to them, or send it just to the admissions office themselves, like you've already kind of spoken on your own behalf, and that can be a really good option for you. And make sure when you're writing this letter, make sure that you have a business format. Make sure that it's no longer than a page. You don't want like a 6-7 page essay about why you should go to that school. They don't have time to read that, and also like a lot of the information that you would be stating is information they may already have. Make sure to have it revised. Like, don't just write your letter when, you know, in your emotional state, I've just been deferred, I don't know what to do, I'm gonna send them a letter right now, right here. Give it some time. I think if you send a letter immediately after, it might seem like a jolt reaction rather than having time to think about their decision and also getting information as to why they may not have accepted you. For example, I know from me and my decision at Penn, they asked for the letter around Valentine's Day, around mid-February. That was about 2-3 months after decisions had been made. So those are like, that's like a good time to send in your letter, as they are still making decisions for a regular decision, but they still have your application, but it's not immediately after. It might be a good idea before you write your letter to make sure that you know where you might fall short, so you can make sure to really address those points. If your GPA is lower than the average or a little bit under what they are expecting, you might want to talk about how you've improved your GPA, because that might be one of the things they're looking at, or one of the reasons as to why they didn't accept you. And also, don't lose hope. It's not over until it's over. Like, I literally thought, like, I was like, there's no way. Like, I've been deferred. Like, it's basically like,
we're so sorry for like rejecting you. You were like really a good applicant, just like not good enough.
that's just not what it means. You don't know why they're deferring you, so don't assume that it's because they want to reject you. Because if they wanted to reject you, they would have rejected you. Don't give up. Don't give up. Have that little 1% of you that's like, maybe there's a chance that I have a sliver of a hope that I might get in. Yeah, take it and run with it and just hope on that, because you never know. Things might be a whole bunch better than you expected. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to comment below. I'd also like to see a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video, and also make sure to subscribe to my channel. As I said before, my name is Vanessa, also known as Kenyan Queen, and thank you for watching this video. TTYLXOX.